let us welcome Sir Anthony. So very good evening from India, sir.
Greetings, I'm honored to be here. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, well, basically I'm a philosopher and a scientist and a science fiction writer, and I touch on multiple disciplines, if you like, very multidimensional. For example, I touch on the nature of artificial intelligence, robotics. How do we give a machine a goal? It needs a description of a future situation. How do we give a machine an active goal? It needs a description of a future situation and the present situation, and then a process that does things to make them the same to change the present situation. So I go into the philosophy of artificial intelligence, robotics, and so forth. So very multidimensional. But in terms of today, we're going to be discussing God and science. And so I'll begin with this. Do we live in a virtual reality? Do we live in a matrix? Well, if we measure cosmic rays zipping through space and find that those traveling at one angle have consistently different energies to those traveling at another angle, then we know that there's a grid structure to the universe. We are nothing but a holographic projection. Everything is pixelated, made up of subatomic particles, strings of light that oscillate. Everything within the universe oscillates. Frequency, you change the structure of matter. Matter is nothing but an illusion. Space and time is nothing but an illusion. The question is, who is the simulator? There has to be a mechanism that controls this virtual reality if we live in a computer simulated universe. So it's a very interesting concept that if we measure cosmic rays zipping through space and find that those traveling at one angle have consistently different energies to those traveling at another angle, then we know that there's a grid structure to the universe. We are nothing but a holographic projection. This is nothing but a virtual reality. Space and time is an illusion. Space and time is an illusion. Okay? But it doesn't dismiss God's existence. Because who is the simulator behind this? Hello, sorry, are you there?
Yes, we're here. Actually, continue, sir. It was fantastic.
Yes. So everything is made up of subatomic particles, strings of light that oscillate. Everything within the universe oscillates at a certain frequency. You amplify the frequency, you change the structure of matter. Matter is an illusion. It's all an illusion, but the question is, who is the simulator behind this virtual reality? There has to be a mechanism that transcends time and space, independent of both time and space. So this is an interesting concept. So if the universe is nothing but an illusion in the sense that it's a computer simulated universe, it still requires a mechanism. God is that mechanism. So I start with this. Now my next point is this, consciousness. What is consciousness? Consciousness is the continual creation of models, feedback loops within the brain that describe a model of our place in space and time. Space and time is an electromagnetic field, 0-point electromagnetic quanta. So consciousness is the continual creation of models, feedback loops within the brain that describe a model of our place in space and time. We know from the first law of thermodynamics, you cannot destroy energy. So the question now is, at death, what happens to that invisible energy of the brain known as consciousness? If we are energy, this proves that there is another dimension beyond this three-dimensional space. And it proves that we are immortal. There is biological entropy. But in terms of the soul, which is a nexus of electromagnetic forces, you cannot destroy that because of the first law of thermodynamics. Death is an illusion. Death is an illusion. So there is another dimension that awaits us. God exists. He is in control of that other dimension. Okay. Now, my next point is this. The nature of man. What is man? Well, we are a bundle of particles. We're a bundle of particles. But the particle that we are made up of mostly is a neutron. We are neutrons. We are neutrons, made up of many, many neutrons. Now, a neutron is radioactive. Not only is it radioactive, but it decays within 10 minutes. This is known as weak decay, because in the world of particle physics, 10 minutes is a very long period of time. It's a very long period of time, 10 minutes, within the world of particle physics units. But in the classical world, it's a very short period of time. So we have the relativity of time at play here, okay? Not only that, when a neutron decays, it decays into three particles because of the first law of thermodynamics. You can't destroy energy. So even if when a neutron decays and becomes unstable, it loses energy and it decays and dies, in quotes, but it doesn't, its energy is never lost because of the first law of thermodynamics. So it basically converts into three particles: proton, electron, and neutrino. So the question is, How do we exist if we are made up of something that is radioactive and decays so quickly? Well, the beautiful thing is this: order out of chaos. God works through chaos, establishes order through nuclear physics. Once you place a neutron into a nucleus, it becomes bound. As it becomes bound, it loses energy. If we apply E equals mc squared, it loses energy. It also loses mass. It loses so much mass, it can no longer decay into a proton, electron, and neutrino. So it stabilizes within the nucleus, within the atomic nuclei. And that is why we exist. All of life exists because of this process within nuclear physics. That once you take a neutron and you place a neutron into a nucleus, it becomes bound, loses energy. E equals mc squared. So it loses energy, it loses mass. It loses so much mass, it no longer decays, and it stabilizes. And this is the reason why we exist. God works through nuclear physics. Order out of chaos. Order out of chaos. And this is the reason why we have all those elements, the 4 heavy elements: carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and iron. Carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and iron are there because of this process. Everything exists because of this process. God operates through chaos. He establishes order. Order out of chaos. Okay? My next point. Sorry, I've got so much to go through. 1 second here, 1 second.
Yeah.
My next point is this. My next point is this. We have a mechanical universe. We do not have a dynamic universe. A dynamic universe is a universe that gathers information as it goes along naturally. So you get you get a random evolution. A dynamic universe is a living system. It gathers information as it goes along at random. So you get a non-linear pattern, a random evolution. But we have a mechanistic universe. We have a mechanical universe. We can see how the universe operates with dark energy as the universe is expanding. It's a mechanistic universe. Isaac Newton himself knew that the universe was mechanistic. It requires a mechanism. This mechanism is an infinite being that transcends time and space. It's a clockwork universe. It's an infinite being that transcends time and space, independent of both time and space. Incidentally, many ask, who created God? Well, that is a non-question, because God is an infinite being that transcends time and space, infinite in both time and space. Space and time is an electromagnetic field, but God is beyond space and time and exists outside of the sphere of time and space and can see the past, present, and future in an instant like that. We live in a mechanical universe. Dynamic processes are A dynamic process are systems with information feedback operations, i.e. a fractal that results in a nonlinear evolution and local unpredictability. But we don't have that. We have a mechanical universe because God, the infinite being that transcends time and space, is operating through the mechanical universe. Okay. My next point is this. The spontaneously generated universe violates the first law of thermodynamics. Now we know that order out of chaos in the Big Bang. All matter was condensed into a point and suddenly exploded into being. But the spontaneously generated universe violates the first law of thermodynamics. What was responsible for pumping energy into the early universe? The open system, in order for the universe to come into being as a result of the fine-tuned Big Bang. The fine-tuned Big Bang. The Big Bang was fine-tuned, very important. And as a result of evolution, God was that spark that set that whole event into being. So the first law of thermodynamics actually violates the spontaneously generated universe. There had to be something in the beginning to pump energy into the open system, the universe, in order for life to begin through the Big Bang and through millions of years of evolution in the open system, our universe. Atheism is completely destroyed just with these few facts here, straight away, easily destroyed. My next point, there are two kinds of things. There are things that exist necessarily, and there are things that exist contingently. Things that exist necessarily exist by the necessity of their own nature. In other words, they cannot not exist, they have to exist. Mathematical objects exist in this way. The number 5 exists in this way. Numbers exist in this way. The number 2, number 3 exist in this way. They exist out of the necessity. by their own nature. They have to exist. They cannot not exist. So these are things that exist necessarily. By contrast, things that exist contingently do not exist necessarily, but they exist because something caused them to exist. Law of cause and effect. You and I, the universe, animals, space and time, everything that we see before us requires a cause. Man, animals, the universe exist contingently. What caused man to come into being? What caused the universe to come into being? And this needs explaining. Now you get a clever atheist that comes along and says, you know something, we can push that aside because the universe is eternal, the eternity of matter theory. Most pantheists believe in the eternity of matter theory. That is, the universe is eternal, it's always existed, it's a cycle process, thus we don't need to explain how it came into being. It's always existed, thus we do not need God. But that is nonsense, including the multiverse theory. There is no mathematics to back the multiverse theory and parallel dimensions. These are all loose things that atheists create to try to confuse theists, believers in God. All these things do not work mathematically. Not to mention that there are 4 points here that destroy the eternality of matter theory like this. The sheer fact that the universe is expanding tells you what? That it had to have been a cluster at some point in order for this expansion to be at play. Okay, 70% of the universe is dark energy, and we have this continual expansion as a result of dark energy. The universe is expanding. So it tells you that it had to have had a point genesis. It had to have originated from a point. As we know, the Big Bang took place. Background cosmic radiation in the universe, which we have detected through astrophysics and astronomy and so forth. The background cosmic radiation tells us that there was an explosion. There was a point genesis to the universe. Not to mention that if the universe was eternal, it would have reached a point where all usable energy was exhausted. But the universe is full of cosmic energy. So the eternity of matter theory is destroyed. Not to mention the last point, the second law of thermodynamics, entropy, the immutable metaphysical law of the universe. Entropy is death and decay. Do we see death and decay within the universe? The immutable metaphysical law of the universe, everything over time decays, proteins and molecules and so forth. Do we see death within the universe? Yes, take a star. A star succumbs to gravitational collapse and eventually, as a result of succumbing to gravitational collapse, decays and dies and forms into either a black hole or a neutron star. There is death within the cosmos, which tells you there was a point genesis to the universe. As I've said, I'm willing to do even debates. In this subject, nobody will beat me on the planet. Believe me, nobody will beat me on this. Now, sorry.
This is interesting, sir, really, and we are really enjoying, but we are having to manage the time. And now we can go.
Can I just squeeze in one more point?
Sure, sure.
Okay, hang on a second. Yeah, can I squeeze in one more point? Yeah.
Yeah, 1 point. Sure.
Okay, yeah. Well, we now know through quantum mechanics and relativity. We now know through quantum mechanics and relativity that the universe is a giant cosmic superconductor. The universe is a giant cosmic superconductor. Every single point in space contains information. Virtual particles that pop in and out of existence perpetually. The universe is a giant cosmic superconductor. There is an invisible field everywhere in the universe. And in a sense, this invisible field is responsible for our existence and all of reality. But standing alone, it doesn't operate the way that atheists say, because you require a mechanism behind that. Because what an atheist will say that due to the laws of quantum mechanics, if you wait long enough, you are always guaranteed to produce particles and matter from seemingly nothing because of this invisible field. Okay, because of this invisible field, because gravity allows for positive and negative energy configurations. So you can always create matter from seemingly nothing as a result of this invisible field that we have detected through the Hadron Collider. But in fact, if you apply the laws of quantum mechanics to gravity itself, space itself becomes a quantum mechanical variable and fluctuates in and out of existence. And you can, by the laws of quantum mechanics, create space, time, and universes where there was no space and time before. But that can't work. I'll end on this note, because physical laws do not create physical realities. Cellular mechanics operates under certain laws, but those laws didn't bring the cell into existence. There has to be a mechanism that controls those laws. The laws of nature operate on mathematics, but who is behind those laws? There has to be an infinite being. God exists. Okay.
Thank you.
I've got a lot more information to go through, but if I have to stop here, I'll stop.
Yeah, thank you very much, and it is really interesting presentation and totally unique. I'm sharing with you that is the first presentation in this 2 days international conference explaining about the cosmos, explaining about the space and time theory, explaining about the you are starting with the magical introduction like that, the Matrix, yes, the Neo that we have already seen that the movies, and then the virtual reality we have explained, the holographic projection, then the space and time.
Even the holographic projection requires God. Because who's a simulator?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which theory you use. Atheists will always fail. You require a mechanism. Evolution requires a mechanism. I could sit here for about 5 hours and give you so much information, but we have to.
Sure.
We will do an interview. We will do an interview.
Yes,
okay.
And we are having one interview, so also we'll contact you for that EDX talk show. That is our research celebrity talk show, and you are really giving the fantastic talk, and this is beyond of imagination. That is something new. We are even confused about that. You have explained here that you can nullify the first law of thermodynamics. This is very, I think, that challenge. As you shared, I just shared from my side, like that if we say about the first law of thermodynamics, this is the delta Q equal to delta U plus delta W. That is the heat generated in this universe.
That's
is
right.
Equal to internal energy and the work done in the universe. So I'm a little bit confused with that statement only. Otherwise, the fantastic part,
the spontaneously generated universe violates the first law of thermodynamics.
Okay.
It requires what was responsible for pumping energy into the open system in the very beginning.
And what is your opinion about the Big Bang Theory? That you support?
I support the Big Bang Theory theistically. All matter was condensed into a point and suddenly exploded. But there was a mechanism behind the Big Bang. It was finely tuned in order for evolution to take place. So the Big Bang was nothing but order out of chaos. As I explained through nuclear physics, our existence, order out of chaos. The Big Bang, order out of chaos. In fact, life arises as a result of an imperfect atom. The atom that lacks an electron creates life. The stable atom doesn't do anything. It's the atom that lacks an electron that needs to gain atomic equilibrium that actually binds to other atoms to make up for the missing electron. And this is known as covalent bonds. And life starts as a result of an abnormality, a deficiency at an atomic level. God uses order out of chaos. We see it in the Big Bang. We see it through atomic physics and nuclear physics with the neutron.
Amazing, that the explanation you are making. And one more
point, my friend, let's organize a debate with the best atheistic scientists on the planet. 5 minutes and he'll run.
And one more doubt here that you were saying here, that universe is the joint cosmic superconductor. So
that's
in
right.
what sense? Yeah, in what sense you were saying like that?
Okay.
The superconductor, because
basically,
whenever we are defining the superconductor, then say that we are clearly saying about the type 1 and type 2 superconductor. And if you are saying like that is simply superconductor, that is the zero resistance.
Basically, through the Hadron Collider, we discovered the so-called God particle, the Higgs field. Yeah. With every associated field, there's an associated particle. Yeah. So we've discovered the Higgs particle. Okay.
Yeah.
And so So the Higgs. That's correct. Yeah. So basically, through the Hadron Collider, we have discovered, and through quantum mechanics and relativity, that space is not empty. Space, every point in space contains information. Every single point in space contains information. Yeah. Virtual particles that are popping in and out of existence continually. This can only happen within the world of quantum mechanics. It couldn't happen in our world because it would violate the laws of energy. You can't produce mass where you didn't have mass in the first place. So basically, what they're saying that there's an invisible field everywhere in the universe. And this invisible field is responsible for our existence and all of reality. In a sense, yes, but it still requires a mechanism. Who placed that quantum world into being? Who placed the holographic universe into being, if you like? There has to be a mechanism, a mind that is operating through quantum mechanics. So we exist through quantum mechanics. Every single point in space contains information. Everything is made up of subatomic particles, strings of light that oscillate. In a sense, everything is an illusion. If you amplify frequency, you change the structure of matter. But that doesn't remove God's existence, because he controls the quantum world. He's the simulator behind this whole quantum theory.
Yeah,
quantum mechanics and so on. So in other words, it doesn't matter which angle you try to turn. It doesn't matter which angle you try to turn. God exists. Period. He is the creator of space and time, exists beyond space and time. So whatever philosophical theory you try to create, God is at the center. He has to be, otherwise it makes no sense. In fact, from a mathematical perspective, if you're saying that there is no God, what you're saying is that 0 times 0 equals everything. When an atheist says there is no God, and many atheism is all about removing God from science, from the universe. There is no God. Quantum mechanics can explain everything. No, you need a mechanism. So when an atheist says that there is no God, what they're saying mathematically, that 0 times 0 equals everything. It's absolutely absurd. God exists outside of time and space. He operates through quantum mechanics. He operates through atomic physics. He operates through the Big Bang. He created space and time, order out of chaos. The great mind behind all the processes within the universe. Consciousness, as I told you, is the continual creation of models, feedback loops in the brain that describe a model of our place in space and time. At death, what happens to that invisible energy of the brain known as consciousness? You cannot destroy energy. But the first law of thermodynamics. We are immortal. Death is an illusion. My brother, get the best atheist. I will destroy him in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes with me and destroy him.
Yeah.
I actually challenged Richard Dawkins, who's a top intellectual here in the UK, many times in the atheistic society. They will not debate me because they will lose. They will lose.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And it is really interesting. We have seen that Sir Anthony relate everything with the law of physics and even defining it in the realms of God. And he is explaining that even the quantum mechanics is controlled by the superpower. And yes, of course, these are already...
Can I finish with one thing? Can I finish with one thing?
Sure.
Just one thing, yeah?
Yeah.
And I'll leave you with this, and then obviously we'll organize for other interviews. The universe is actually a triune universe, okay? The universe is actually a triune universe. I'm not saying I'm a Christian, but within Christian theology, we have a triune God, yeah? Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, yeah? But many atheists say that this doesn't make sense. How can you have 3 in 1? The universe is 3 in 1. Space, time, and matter. It's a space-time matter. It's a Trinitarian universe of space, time, and matter. What is space? Space is 3-dimensional, and within each dimension of space, it permeates all of space. We have a Trinitarian perception of space. What is time? Past, present, and potential future. Our whole reality is interconnected within a triune perception of reality. Past, present, and future. A Trinitarian perception of reality. And matter, and I close here, matter, light and sound, is the unseen, omnipresent energy that manifests itself in various forms of measurable motion corresponding with natural phenomena. Light produces light waves that produces the light that is seen, and the same mathematics for sound. We live in a Trinitarian universe. We live in a Trinitarian perception of reality.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. And it is really outstanding presentation. And we have seen that everything from quantum theory to the cosmology.
Can you get this on YouTube? Put this on YouTube for me, yeah?
Yeah. So I would like to share here that the presentation is really excellent. outstanding covering the cosmology to the quantum mechanics. And truly, it's a point of debate, and maybe in near future there will be some debates also from our side, and we will
If
also
you can
invite.
if you can organize a debate, I'm still waiting for debates.
Sure, sure.
I'm open to
We
any
will,
debate.
yes, we will go for that one because we have one so EDX talk so, and we'll give the invitation for that one also. And this is true that always that we have to understand the reality. And as Sir Anthony said, that quantum mechanics, quantum physics, nuclear physics, and the space-time relation truly explained, and there are so many things to be argumented, to be discussed, to be explored. But as we are some running out of time, therefore, I would like to request each and everyone to give the big hand at first to Sir Anthony for this presentation. That is really excellent presentation and a fantastic one. The starting way and to relating each and everything with the quantum mechanics, with the cosmology, and the superpower as God.
Basically, I close with this. I bring everything into one giant universal orb of thought. I connect science, metaphysics, nuclear physics, atomic physics, theology, metaphysics, cosmology, and I create one giant universal orb of thought where God controls all the mechanisms of life, including consciousness. In fact, consciousness is connected to God. That is the true description of consciousness. He is that connection, why we live and move and have our being. Okay?
Yeah, but it will be the different and grand unified theory. I think that it will be contradictory.
Please organize the debate anytime. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Richard Dawkins, the very best on the planet. 10 minutes, gone. Thank you.
Thank you.